Support for WXAV 88.3 FM and WXAV.com is being provided by Bookies, new and used books. Bookies is an independent bookstore located at 10324 Southwestern Avenue in Chicago. They have a collection of new and used books and accept book trade-ins and donations. More information is available at bookieschicago.com and on Instagram at bookieschicago.
Support for WXAV 88.3 FM and WXAV.com is provided by Northwest Community Credit Union. Northwest Community Credit Union is located on campus inside the Graham School of Management and offers financial services for the St. Xavier community. Services include student credit cards, student loans, and other financial resources. More information is available at nwccu.com.
This podcast is being brought to you by WXAV 88.3 FM and WXAV.com. WXAV, bringing the best podcasts to you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Daniel Justic.
My name is Perla Kobos.
And welcome back to episode 4 of
No Justice, No One Piece.
The podcast where we discuss the most popular anime and manga in the world, One Piece, and connect the themes we encounter to past and present atrocities going on in our own world.
Today, we will cover the highly anticipated Skypiea, or Sky Island arc of One Piece. Let's begin.
For many people, actually, I do see that they dislike this arc a lot, and it kind of comes off as boring. But in the grand scheme of things, I think it is by far the most important arc yet we've covered, and one of the most important arcs, just period, in the story.
Yeah, I won't lie though, it did take me 2 months to finish it.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely did not fly through it like other arcs.
Yeah, I was gonna say Alabasta is definitely where I started to slow down, but then Skypiea is where I actually took genuine breaks, and I was because I did hear a lot, I definitely on TikTok everybody was like, oh my god, Skypiea, it's so boring, it's nothing but filler. So I kind of already knew that I was okay, there's obviously something here that people don't like, and I can understand, but also at the same time I didn't want to let other people dictate my own viewing experience. So I feel like the breaks were necessary, but it was also very worthwhile because when watching you can see the various important points and plot lines and themes that are in here that are going to be important to the story, obviously.
Oh yeah, 100%. I had the same problem, taking a few breaks or just not as interested, but I could definitely still notice a lot more just of the themes and how they connect both our world and the further world of One Piece that we haven't really encountered up to this point.
Well, at the beginning of I guess the Skypiea arc, which starts with Jaya, we have Robin joining, and then also where we learn at the end of Alabasta that she can read the poneglyphs, which I feel like is very important, which are 2 important points in my opinion, 2 important points to the beginning of this arc where we have Robin joining the crew and we know that she can read poneglyphs and then we know how important the poneglyphs are to this as of now.
Yeah, that is fair. We don't really know too much about Robin up until this point, but we do know the importance of those. Don't really know how she's come to learn how to read them or anything. We learn that a bit later, but yeah, it is very important, and it kind of I just like how it starts adding more
more substance.
Yeah,
and more I don't want to say mystery, but it adds more ooh, what wait, what does that mean now?
Yeah. Before you would think, oh, he's just gonna fight pirates until he's the top pirate, but now you're oh, there's actually some mystery behind it.
Yeah.
Stuff they have to discover, an actual pirate adventure.
Yeah, there's actual knowledge to attributing this, or what's the word I'm looking for? To gaining this. It's not just a straight shot. It's no, you have to go through some obstacles.
Yeah, and then I like how, because with the poneglyphs, how they start hearing about them, come to know about them. Right in Jaya, when they get the map to Skypiea, and it's kind of this similar light where it's this mysterious thing that they really have no clue about. They've just heard of it. They just got this map of it, and now they're oh, maybe this could be connected to the poneglyphs in some way.
Yeah.
And so I just like how they immediately segue that into each other.
Yeah, how they actually start, using knowledge in their brains to connect that the One Piece isn't just some treasure that you're gonna get immediately. There's a road and there's obstacles you're gonna have to encounter.
Yeah.
Which we also learn towards the end of Skypiea that the poneglyphs are also, or this specific poneglyph that they find in Skypiea is tied back to One Piece and Roger, to the One Piece and Roger.
Oh yeah, that is, when they finally find the City of Gold up there and they see like the stuff Roger wrote.
Yeah.
Like that's wild. But I also really like at the beginning just the whole mystery behind it.
Yeah.
And it just reminds me a lot in our world, like places of legend, like Mount Olympus, Middle Earth, stuff like that. Like,
Yeah.
because we have Nolan the Liar, and he kind of, his whole backstory is that he knows that there's this city of gold, Sky Island, says like, oh, it's right here, and then it's gone when he gets there because the upstream, and they're
Yeah.
like, well, you lied, put him to death.
Yeah.
But, and honestly, that's kind of, you can find people like that throughout history, like the boy who cried wolf, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where just kind of like that similar archetype. And I really like his character because it also connects a lot to Usopp,
Mm-hmm.
someone who lies nonstop, but some of his lies do end up coming true.
I was gonna say there's some truth in his words.
Yeah,
here
like
and
if you, especially where we're at now in the story, if you look back, pretty much all of Usopp's lies have come true.
there. Yeah.
Like pretty much all of them did end up happening. I don't know. I really like that.
Yeah. Well, also kind of going off that, like kind of off topic but on topic, that reminds me of the movie The Road to El Dorado. Have you ever seen it?
I don't think so.
Oh, it's a DreamWorks movie. It's so good. It's a movie called The Road to El Dorado, where it's these two guys named Tulio and Miguel, and they're like these kind of scammers in Spain. And first of all, I want to say The Road to El Dorado is very much like accurate to what actually happened in history, because it actually has Cortés as like a villain in that story, which is kind of funny because I feel like for me personally, it's the first time I've seen like an actual historic person be a villain. So like it was kind of like, it's like almost, I want to say it's like probably 20% accurate and then obviously 80% fiction. But that movie's also about these two guys finding the city of gold, and they find the indigenous people living there. And then towards the end of the movie, basically, one of the indigenous people, the high priest, he finds out that Tulio and Miguel have been lying about who they are, because they basically made up this whole elaborate scheme that they're actually gods, and that, they're these like, there's these huge gods, and throughout the whole movie, people are worshiping them, and they're like, they believe that they're these gods. And the high priest discovers them towards the end. So he tries to turn Cortés on them. But then at the end of the movie, the entrance to El Dorado is blocked up because it was through like a secret waterfall. And towards the end of the movie, Cortés is like, this guy's a liar, and they end up killing him. So that just reminded me of that. But I also feel like that movie is also kind of connecting to some of the points we're going to make here, which is people trying to find the city of gold for their own profit.
Mm-hmm.
And we see in El Dorado, we see Tulio and Miguel, they initially come to the city of gold because they want gold, they want money. But then as they live there and as they meet the people there, they kind of start to realize like, oh, like this is like people's like real lives. Like this is somebody's home. Like this isn't just like gold and money to them. This is like where they live, where they thrive, like, and stuff like that.
No, yeah, that's a wild connection. Like that's pretty much exactly what happens in Skypiea. Like with Nolan and what's it, Calgara? I think that's his name. The Shandorian from way back when.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Calgara. I was like, what's his name?
But yeah, that's like pretty much exactly what happened with them. Because Nolan, how did that start? Nolan found them, ended up healing the Shandorians because they had like some incurable disease that he knew how to heal, and then they began that bond. But like as you said, like they branded him as a liar later on. That broke the bonds between the indigenous people there and him, and kind of just created that animosity that has now existed for hundreds of years ever since.
Mm-hmm.
And then also with Enel taking over, and
with Eminem taking over.
Eminem. He really is though. He is based off of Eminem, so.
I mean, it's like it's kind of impossible to look at him and not think Eminem.
Yeah. But I also find with Skypiea and like the whole god thing, this is like a moniker that they have beforehand. Like Ganfall, they all refer to him as their god, even though it's not really like a god. It's just it's more so like a president or a king.
Yeah.
The person who like is just the strongest of them and leads them. You could see how like Enel ends up seeing, oh, they have a god. I'm gonna be this god, and he sees it more as this like absolute figure no one can question no matter what.
Yeah.
When in Ganfall's eyes, he's supposed to serve the people as their god, and it's vice versa between the two.
Yeah.
I just really like that whole.
Yeah, it's interesting because it definitely plays on the real world tactics of people using religion, or like people using fear of religion to manipulate people into doing what they want. I mean, you can honestly think about cults, how people use their own religion, how they'll be like, Jesus told me that you all should give me money because I need a private jet. And it's like, and people will do it. So it kind of goes into like fear and manipulation and stuff like that. And then kind of going more into the fear, people obviously like being afraid of like doing the wrong thing because they're like, oh, well, I don't want to like upset God, or like I don't want to
Mhm.
like go to hell, or like I don't want to be punished for like not doing the right thing. So Anel kind of does use that fear, especially because we learned that he can, because of his hockey,
Yeah.
he can see, obviously he can, what's the word I'm looking for? He can like not predict, but he can see people's moves before they attempt to do it. So kind of also that goes into like the, oh, like I'm all knowing and I'm all seeing,
Yeah.
which obviously plays into people's fears, like, oh my God, like he can see what I'm doing, like let me like behave, like let me act accordingly and stuff like that.
One thing I saw that actually connects to this, currently they're trying to implement they're trying to implement an AI policing software
Mm-hmm.
that will predict crimes before it happens and arrest those individuals before they commit the crimes, which there's been movies made like this. It's not going to go well.
Yeah.
But it's very similar to this, where like Anel has this foresight that only he can see.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I know you're going to do this eventually, so I have the right to like arrest or kill you.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the same thing, and it's really scary to see like coming to fruition in our own world.
I know. It is scary when you see something in like a past and then you start seeing it in the future later
Yeah.
on. Like my dad said, because my dad used to grow up watching Inspector Gadget. So he's like, whenever I see like futuristic things now, he's like, I'm not phased. He's like, because I saw it on Inspector Gadget in the 80s.
That's fair. And I also want to talk about this, going back to Jaya, but just the introduction of so many people.
Mhm.
Because you have, I mean, obviously Blackbeard, I'd say, is the biggest introduction here.
Yeah.
Because they actually interact, and Blackbeard's going to be like one of the final villains, I'm guessing.
I'm
I mean,
assuming,
Yeah,
yeah.
we don't know, but like him, Akainu, some other, like another emperor or something, but pretty much him. And we get introduced to him, Bellamy, Doflamingo, Kuma, Sengoku, Whitebeard, the Five Elders, like
Mhm.
so many important people get name dropped, and we actually see a bit of them in this arc, and this is kind of where it all starts taking off from this point.
Yeah.
But I really like that, and especially with Luffy and Blackbeard, because Blackbeard encourages Luffy, actually. He's like, go
Yeah.
chase your dreams. Like, that's what we should do. That's what pirates should do. They should follow their dreams.
Yeah, I have that in my points. I just like it. Blackbeard's quotes, people's dreams have no ends.
Yeah.
Especially because Bellamy very much, he claims too, he's like, we're the new pirate era. He's like, old pirates, you know, with treasure and stuff like that. He's like, it's stupid and you're making us new pirates like look bad
Yeah.
and stuff like that. And Blackbeard and Luffy definitely, like, you also have it in one of your points, how Blackbeard and Luffy share the same ideologies of definitely like being a pirate is about freedom, being a pirate is about like chasing your dreams and making your own, like fulfilling your own self and stuff like that. So I do think it's funny how, yeah, Blackbeard and Luffy definitely have like a moment of peace in that time where like they obviously share the same ideology about dreams and stuff like that. But then obviously we see later on
Yeah.
that Blackbeard and Luffy encounter each other in a not so good way.
Yeah. And I like their different reactions to the pie. How
Mhm.
Blackbeard loves the pie, Luffy hates the pie.
Yeah.
It's just like the subtlest of details, but that
It
shows
is.
how well they have the same philosophy. It differs in a ton of ways, because it's kind of like all for one versus one for all.
Yeah.
Like Luffy views himself as the one for all, the one person who wants to help everyone, and then Blackbeard, or am I getting this wrong? I don't know. But then Blackbeard sees himself that all people are for him,
Yeah.
and that he if he's the strongest pirate, he has the freedom to do whatever he wants. He can harm other people as well. Luffy is the strongest pirate, has the freedom to do whatever he wants, has the freedom to make other people free as well.
Yeah.
Like that reflection is really cool that they just introduce it so subtly
Yeah.
and through the use of pie.
I know. I was gonna say, because I feel like that's also such a good tactic to use. It's so silly because it's like, oh, they're fighting over pie and stuff like that. But it's like, well, there's definitely some implications there.
Yeah.
It's like, because they're eating the same pie, so why would Luffy hate it but Blackbeard love it? So it's kind of like, yeah, it's definitely like there's some subtlety here.
And that's also really like one of the only times we see Luffy dislike food.
Yeah.
Which is interesting that it's with Blackbeard.
I know.
And also with Blackbeard, when they're leaving, like after they talk to him and like Zoro and Luffy are walking away, Nami goes like, what's up with that guy? What's up with him?
Mhm.
And they both go, it's not a him, it's a them.
Yes.
It's like, what is up with that? Which definitely connects to Blackbeard getting Whitebeard's devil fruit.
Yes.
Like, is he like multiple personality or something like that?
Yes.
But we have no clue still.
I definitely heard that. I definitely remember seeing that part and being like, just so confused. I
Yeah.
was like, okay, inclusion.
No, for real.
I was like, okay, non-binary inclusion.
It's very funny.
I also have here in my points, Luffy and Zoro's don't fight back moment. I just really like that moment. Just a hype moment.
Mhm.
Definitely because I feel like people definitely downplay Luffy's emotional intelligence a lot of the time. Like, people definitely see Luffy and they're like, oh, like, silly guy. Like, no, Luffy's definitely, I would argue, one of the most emotionally intelligent people on the ship. Just
Yeah.
because obviously he has his moments where he's very silly. He's very much like outgoing and like bombastic and stuff like that. But then we also have moments like in Arlong Park, my favorite moment, when Nami's crying, you know, she's stabbing herself in the shoulder. And she's like telling Luffy, like, I told you to leave. I told you to get out. Like, why are you still here? And Luffy's just like, yep, you sure did.
Mhm.
And he's just kind of like, I don't know. There's just something about those moments where like Luffy's emotional intelligence comes out where I'm like, oh my God, like people just do not realize, like, obviously, like, we know Luffy is strong, obviously, physically. We know Luffy is strong emotionally, but then there's also parts of Luffy that I just really like. I don't know. I just really like this moment. It's like a super hype moment, especially because I feel like, God, I was waiting for Bellamy to go.
No, for real.
In that moment, I literally texted my nephew, who's a huge One Piece fan. I was like, please tell me. And he was like, he does. Trust me, just wait. Also, the moment when they finally found the Southern bird or the South bird and they see the mark. And again, just another hype moment where Nami's like, that's Bellamy's mark. And then Luffy stands up and Zoro just goes, you want any help? And Luffy's like, I got this one. I'm like, oh, that's so cool.
No, for real. And I do love how, like you said, it shows his emotional intelligence because he had been beat by Bellamy technically, even though like he would have won if he fought back. But him being able to refuse fighting Bellamy like out of his own will, only to like once Bellamy takes it too far, obviously, then he's going to step in. But at first he was just like, there's no need for me to do this. It's just going to cause more problems. Like, let me just stay
Even
to
Blackbeard
myself.
credits him. He's like, you won that fight. And Nami's like, what? Like, what do you mean? So it is also like other people acknowledging that, like, yeah, Luffy is more emotionally intelligent than obviously he looks on the outside.
Yeah. It's really freaky how much, like, how connected Blackbeard and Luffy are in this intro arc. And, like, they are really like two sides of the same coin.
Yeah.
But, you know, they end up leading down different paths from that point on. It's just wild. And then getting actually into Skypiea itself, once they go up the knock-up stream. I mean, first off, Skypiea in itself, like the entire arc, is very much a reflection of, like, colonization and indigenous people being misplaced. Back in the day, you had the part of Earth that got blasted up there and became like this holy land for the Shandorians, only for the sky people up there to be like, actually, this is ours. We deserve it because it's in the sky. And they're like, well, we've had this for hundreds of years. And it just, you see how that whole war starts over that. And that's just really absurd. And we can connect this to countless things, but most prevalently right now, Israel and Palestine.
Yes.
Because that's pretty much the exact way that conflict has started. Who deserves the land. And it's just really weird to see that now when this was written so long ago, but it is just very prevalent.
Yeah. Kind of random, but also kind of tying. You know how when they enter Skypiea and they have to like pay to get in? It kind of like, I don't know, just for me, this just reminds me of like how when you go to Mexico, obviously Mexico is very much like obviously some parts of Mexico are very like poor, some parts of Mexico are very much like touristy parts. I just think about how like when you go to certain parts of Mexico, I've noticed too, even in my grandma's town, which is technically a small town, like I've definitely noticed in like the markets and stuff like that, they definitely have raised the prices of a lot of things and stuff like that. Obviously, because there's tourists, there's people coming in from out of town. I don't know why. I just think about that, how like you have to pay to get into Skypiea, whereas some people probably live there and they're like, what? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I just make that connection in my head, like, because it's like, why do I have to pay to get in here? Like, this is like, it seems odd at first, because even they're like, what? Like, pay to get in?
No, yeah, like in pretty much every other island we see, you don't have to deal with that. You just land on the island with your ship and you're
stroll on
there.
in.
Yeah, but and it kind of like in some ways makes it seem like a class difference.
Yes.
Because you have because they refer to the people on the ground as like kind of lesser beings because like you come from the earth, yada yada. But at the same time, you have like in our world, rich people looking at poor people and being like, oh, you can't get to my level. You don't deserve. And if you try to get to that level, you have to go through like immense struggles, pay an immense amount, pay the right people certain stuff. You see a lot of connections there.
Yeah. I also found out what I was trying to say. It's like the gentrification of it, of like having to pay to get into this land, but this land isn't even yours.
Yeah.
But it's like you're profiting off of it. That's what I was trying to say. how like obviously some parts of Mexico are very poor and there's already poor people living there and struggling to live, but then someone else comes in and is like, this'll do, and they profit off of it, and then it slowly also pushes the people out. I mean, you can look at that now here in Chicago. I mean, Pilsen is a predominantly Latino neighborhood, but obviously once people started finding out that it's actually very beautiful and that it's next to downtown and there's the Mexican Museum of Art, obviously people started opening up their little coffee shops. They started opening up crystal shops and like all these things. And obviously other people are coming in and pushing and being like, I want to live here. This is like a cute little place. And like they're initially pushing out the Latino families who have lived there for years, but they can no longer afford to live there because obviously the result of gentrification and raising the prices of everything, whether it be food, homes, or public transportation and stuff like that, and also kind of erasing the culture that is there. I've definitely noticed that in Pilsen, like I said, is a very predominantly Latino neighborhood. So obviously there's a lot of murals, there's a lot of, art and just places that are meant for Latinos. It's a space for Latinos. And obviously that is being erased by being replaced with coffee shops or with stuff like that almost erases it and kind of establishing a new place that was meant for somebody else.
Yeah, that's a very good connection. Like I could see that like pretty much exactly in this arc. But yeah, that is just like a really big problem of, I don't know how to put it, but yeah, like people recognizing the beauty of a place or like what a place could have to offer. And you could even see that like with a country recognize another country as oil or something.
Yeah.
They want that oil. And they're like, well, we're going to come in here, push you out. It's ours now.
Yeah.
Like it's such a prevalent thing in pretty much every society. Yet a lot of people don't even bat an eye when it happens.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
Because they benefit from it.
Yeah. And also just Enel kind
Yeah.
of as this surveillance state of total power that no one can ever go against. Just that in itself is very scary to think of. And you can see some places like that becoming more like that day by day.
Yeah, definitely. The dictatorship that he rules under, for sure.
And the fact you could just hear anyone at any point pretty much and
Yeah.
just be like, you said this, your life is forfeit now.
Yeah, definitely. Going into how everybody has the fear of like being chipped or being listened in on. And the fact that you are being listened in on, I don't know if I'm saying that right. The fact that you are being eavesdropped on, I don't know if that's a word.
That works.
But I mean, because what is it? I have an Alexa at home.
Oh, yeah.
And I know everybody already has beef with the Alexas. I've never been one to be like afraid of anything because obviously like everyone's like, oh, the government's gonna hear you. I'm like, what is the government gonna find out that they already don't know about me?
Exactly.
I'm like, they know where I live. They have my full name. I was like, they have my fingerprints. They have my date of birth. I was like they know everything about me. I was like, obviously my bank statements and everything is like tied to like higher ups that I can't even begin to fathom. So when I think about my Alexa, I kind of laugh because my mom's like, you should just unplug that and put it away. She's like, they're like, it's listening in on you. And I've only ever heard about it happening, but it did happen to me the other day where if you start yelling really loud or like if you and somebody else are arguing, your Alexa will ask you like, would you like me to call for help or would you like me to call the police? Because she's understanding it, or I guess technically it's a AI.
Yeah.
It's understanding it as a domestic situation. So it's kind of being like, would you like me to call you assistance, obviously, in case like, let's say the person's like, fighting for their life and like they obviously can't take the time to take their phone and dial 911. So it recently happened where my brother's dog was in my room and I was like, Rosa, get out of here. Like she was like annoying me. And then my Alexa like lights up and it's like, would you like me to call like emergency services? And I was like, no, that won't be necessary.
That would be terrifying.
That would be extremely terrifying, especially because I'm just trying to get a dog out of my room. Trust, nothing is happening.
That is pretty cool though. Like I could see that being of a lot of help actually.
Yeah, that is actually a very
scenarios.
helpful, very helpful technique or a very helpful tool. But in this case, it was not needed.
Yeah. And at the same time, like having someone with an L's hockey who could hear like that, it could potentially be in some cases like a beneficial thing.
Yeah.
But just the way Enel does it and goes about it is obviously not beneficial as he's killing people whoever he pleases. But like if it's something similar to that, like with Alexa, then it could be useful. It's just not in this scenario.
Yeah. Sorry, that also reminds me of Spy Family, where Anya hears somebody
Oh, yeah.
drowning and she's like trying to help them without also trying to let it slip up that she's a mind reader.
Mhm.
That just reminded me that, like, yeah, it could be beneficial in some cases. And we see in this case it is.
Mhm.
But obviously, Anel uses it more for his own benefit and obviously to rule over the people and not for the people.
Yeah. And I love the reflection, or I don't know if it's reflection, but just between him and Ganfall
Mm-hmm.
of the different ways they lead, because Ganfall was very much like trying to be peaceful with everyone. Like he knew there was the beef that everyone had with each other, the Shandorians and Skypeans, but he was like trying to very much be a mediator in this scenario at least.
Mhm.
And then you have Anel, who's just, he doesn't care about the two situations. He's at the top, so they all have to listen to him,
Yeah.
instead of Ganfall, who's trying to work with them and make everyone equal together.
Yeah.
I just really like how that mimics each other in some ways.
Yeah. Because it's like, it's also, again, like two people's different ideologies, like two people being in the same position and how they view it.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like Luffy and Blackbeard. Obviously, Luffy and Blackbeard's situation is a little bit different than Ganfall's and Anel's, but also kind of the same, like two people being in the same position or two people sharing the same ideology, but how they act or how they speak when they are in that set position or when speaking about said ideology. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, One Piece and Oda really likes using like duos to kind of do that, because
Mhm.
you got, at least in this arc alone, you have Luffy and Blackbeard, Ganfall and Enel, but then also Montblanc and what's the guy's name? Shandara or whatever his name was.
Oh, uh-huh.
And then like outside of this arc, Garp and Sengoku, Akainu and Aokiji. Like all the first commanders and pirate crews kind of reflect each other and mimic each other.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really just love how he kind of like does this thing in duos where he takes two people with the very similar ideologies, like pretty much the same exact way they lived their lives,
Mm-hmm.
but just tweak a tiny little thing about it, and it makes them entirely different characters.
Yeah.
But I really like that, and like there's definitely more I'm thinking about that I just can't remember.
Yeah, there's definitely more. There's just so many friggin' characters.
Yeah, but that's just a very common like trope they
Yeah.
use, and I like that trope a lot.
Kind of also, which we obviously see later from what I have heard, but Luffy being immune to Enel's devil fruit powers. And also, I felt really dumb when I didn't put two and two together.
Yeah, me too.
When I didn't realize. Because I feel like I had grown up hearing that a lot, that like rubber was like, obviously like lightning can't strike rubber. Because I remember hearing somebody was like, I used to be afraid to drive like in the rain and thunderstorms because I thought the lightning was going to hit us. And they were like, oh, well, my grandma was like the lightning can't hit us because the tires are rubber.
Mhm.
So I remember being like, oh, okay, like rubber, lightning, boom. So when I'm watching One Piece, I know Luffy's powers he's rubber,
Mhm.
but I forget, like, no, he's rubber. Like,
Yeah.
the guy, no bones.
Yeah.
Duh, because the bones can't do that. Or
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm assuming. I don't know what his X-rays look like, but
True, that's
I'm
fair.
assuming he doesn't have bone. I've just gone with the assumption that his bones can stretch too. But again, like I said, once I sat down and realized it, I'm like, yeah, he probably doesn't have bones.
You know, there are, I can't really say much because of stuff that happens later that you don't know yet, but
Oh, okay.
stuff kind of gets explained a bit more in depth
Okay.
about
That's
his
all I need to
powers.
know.
Yeah. But I also, one thing like that, I won't go too in depth into it, but in the very early of Skypiea, like soon after they get there, when they're dancing with the wolves around the fire,
Mm-hmm.
that moment is like a huge callback into stuff that's happening right now, and I just
Oh, is
really
it?
love seeing that, and like the fact it was foreshadowed way back when,
Yeah.
and it's now coming into play. I just love that. Like this is really such an important arc, and there's so much that's coming back now.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say I definitely, because I know, obviously I don't know everything that happens in like future arcs.
Yeah.
But obviously One Piece is such a big piece of media, and obviously people are gonna talk about it. And
Mhm.
obviously I heard even before watching One Piece, obviously there's things that are called back in Whole Cake Island, in Wano. I know people definitely compare Wano and Skypiea,
Mhm.
because I know they definitely share the theme of, like, I don't want to say colonialism, but I don't even know if that's the right word, colonization. They definitely share the theme of colonization or something along the lines of that. Obviously, like this
Oh yeah, definitely.
town being taken advantage of in some way, shape, or form.
No, yeah, it's like pretty much the exact same scenario in some ways.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously some different caveats and whatnot, because, I mean, Wano's a lot bigger of a place, but pretty
Yeah.
much the same of just, like, country that was pretty peaceful being taken over by a person who doesn't want it to be peaceful and use it for their own gain.
Yeah.
And then goes
Exactly
the same
that.
route as an L.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, kind of going back to the City of Gold being a home for the Shandorians, and obviously how Nolan kind of sees it as this like treasure place, and everyone's like, "This is our home."
Yeah.
So yeah, also kind of I guess that kind of ties back to what I was saying before about neighborhoods being gentrified,
Yeah.
and how obviously these people are like, this is our home, and everyone's like, I see an opportunity for profit.
Yeah, and like with the City of Gold, because once they finally arrive there, the Straw Hats, they see that a lot of the gold's been taken by Enel for his ship that he's building.
Mm-hmm.
And so the same way, like, people will go to a country that has certain resources they want and take all of it for themselves. And, like, a lot of reflections there. And then also with Enel building his ship, that's just so funny to me, because he was like, yeah, I'm just going to go to the moon.
Yeah.
And, like...
It's like, go off, King.
Yeah. Like,
Sure.
just a random thing. And he's still up there.
Yeah.
I think he is supposed to come back at some point.
I feel like I did hear something along the lines of that Enel is going to come back.
Which, like, he would be, because, like, obviously outside of, like, the very top people, like, he's not being, like, Whitebeard or them, but
yeah.
he has an overpowered devil fruit, and
Yeah.
having hockey that early on, at least observation, like, if he managed to learn the rest, maybe some advanced hockey form on the moon that he learned from some moon dwellers or something. But
Space hockey.
Yeah, he could come space hockey. He could come back and really be a real problem, I feel.
Yeah.
And I just want to see more of him because he is a really cool character.
He was really cool. I feel like definitely the ruthlessness and him definitely using his hockey and his devil fruit to the fullest advantage. I feel like that definitely also did make him a protagonist, an antagonist that definitely like made me. I feel like I always say this. I'm like, damn, how are they gonna get out of this one? I feel like when I was watching Skypiea and Enel was introduced, I feel like especially with his priests, with everyone else also fighting the priests throughout the forest, I feel like I also it just kind of had me like, damn, how are they gonna get out of this one?
Yeah, no, for real. I thought it like all hope was lost.
I know, because everyone was like, it's only 52 episodes. I'm like, how are they gonna? I'm like, I'm on episode 30. I'm like, they're still fighting the same dudes from 10 episodes back.
And then also with, I just like how this comes right after Alabasta with Crocodile, because it shows like how different devil fruits could be used.
Yeah.
Because Crocodile is someone who relied heavily on the area that he was at, being in Alabasta with all this sand, that he can manipulate all the sand he wants.
Yeah.
Then you get a Nell who's like, my devil fruit's so absurdly strong, it doesn't matter where I am. I guess the sky does help because, you know, closer to clouds or whatever, if you want to claim that. But it just really shows like the gap people can have in their devil fruits, and how even though they're both Logia, like the lightning is so much more like catastrophic of a fear to have compared to the sand. Like, I mean, obviously it caused Luffy problems, but nowhere near as extreme as a Nell. Like one tapping Zoro, Sanji.
Yeah.
Like the one thing that freaked me out when he did it is when they pretty much kill a Nell and they're all like, "Oh, we won," and then he starts restarting his own heart.
Yes.
And it's like, oh my God, I didn't know this was possible. Like, it really shows there's levels to this devil fruit stuff.
I totally forgot about that part. That was such like a God. That's such like the final boss's health bar doubling up.
There's a second phase or something.
Yeah, there's a second phase of the fight. God, I totally forgot about that. That's such like a. It's a hype moment, but it's also like a oh my God, like you gotta be freaking kidding me.
Yeah, like you see Wiper just like lose all hope in that moment. He's
that
like,
was so
that was
crazy.
My one chance. Like, there's nothing else I could do.
I totally forgot about that. That's such an insane part. God.
No, yeah, I love that.
That
really
is,
cool.
I was gonna say that is really cool, but it's also so like, oh my God.
Yeah. And I like the kind of imagery of Luffy beating Enel by using the golden bell and like having the gold all wrapped around his fist.
Yeah.
Just because like that's what Enel's been going after this entire time, getting the gold so he can build his flying machine just to be beaten by the gold that he's trying to take.
Yeah.
And beaten by the gold from the country that he's been taking from, and the country that he's enslaved pretty much. Just I really like that.
Yeah. And we see too that with him ringing the bell, it also goes more into who he meets, Nolan's descendant. God, I'm trying to remember his name.
Oh.
He meets him at
Oh,
Jaya,
yeah.
like literally at the half point where like Jaya has been lifted up from.
Cricket.
Yes, Cricket. Where he meets Cricket and he rings the bell for him. That's also just such a good moment too. The
Mhm.
silence and only hearing the bell rings.
Yeah.
And Luffy telling him like, "Can you hear it? That's for you." Oh, it's just such a good moment. And we see that he does hear it, and like telling him like, "There is a city of gold up here," because
Mhm.
it's also a moment of clarity and peace for him. So obviously, as Nolan's descendant, he has to grow up hearing people basically call his great 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 grandfather like a liar and like basically like a disgrace to the country. And obviously that's embarrassing and hurtful to hear as like somebody's descendant. And then having this moment where like you find out like they're not lying, they actually did make a huge
Yeah.
contribution to history and like they helped people. It's just such a nice moment. It's just such like a powerful moment too, especially because it's just silence and the bells. And then like Luffy comes in with such a powerful voice. God,
No, I really did
so
love that
good.
moment too. That was great. Another thing I find interesting is Nola from that arc, the big snake.
Mm-hmm.
How like that kind of was their previous like leader and something like that. Not really leader, but like
Also like a god
yeah, their
type.
god figure. Like
Yeah.
well, that's honestly Nola was closer to a god than both Ganfall and Enel
Yeah.
because they were still people that like kind of gave themselves those positions or like worked towards those positions. Nola was just kind of labeled as that, kind of like a
Yeah.
legend or something.
Mm-hmm.
But I just really like how like been around the entire time since the very beginning with Nolan and all of them, and then just has seen everything and just like there are tons of religions or cultures around the world that believe in like animals the same way they kind of believed in Nola as like
Mm-hmm.
that the animals are above all and that they are the
Yeah.
ones that we should like worship and kind of follow.
Yeah.
And so I like just having that reflection in there too.
Yeah. Kind of from what I know the Aztecs. Quetzalcoatl. He's
Hmm.
represented as a snake, and it's just really cool, or like something like a snake. So that's what I think about immediately.
Yeah, and also in Norse mythology, Jormungandr, the world serpent,
Mm-hmm.
he's very similar to this, just giant snake that kind of like coils the earth. I don't know exactly, but coils the world and watches over it.
God, another moment I love is when everyone is sleeping and then Luffy wakes up Nami and she's like, "What?" And he's like, "We're gonna steal the gold and run."
Oh yeah,
And then that kind of wakes up obviously everybody and then the town, and then they're trying to escape. But obviously the people are trying to be like, "No, come back." Like, and they're actually trying to give it to them.
hmm
And they're like trying to run away. And they're like, "No, please come back."
I do love just the humor in this.
I know.
The early pre-time skip humor is so much better than post-time skip humor, I will say.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
God.
still there and it's still very funny, but like Skypiea especially has so many good moments like that. Them swinging from the vines.
Oh my God, Zoro swinging from the vine lives in my head rent free.
No, for real.
I forgot what activity. Oh my God, I know exactly what activity I did after. You know those like tree climbing courses type things?
Hmm.
I went to one of those, I think, after watching Skypiea, and there was at one point where like I had to go across a zip line, and I was like, God, all I have in my head is just Zoro doing the Tarzan yell.
Yeah. I also, oh my God, I can't really say much of this because it's stuff that's happening right now, but there's a theory currently about Emu, because
Yeah.
Emu, about like their true appearance and like who they actually are.
Mm-hmm.
But there is a connection in Skypiea. I can't really say much of it, but it's really weird. It's when Zoro's with that one bird. Do you know there's a
Oh,
bird that kind
yeah.
of talks to him?
Mm-hmm.
It's I wish I could say more, but I don't want to spoil anything
Okay.
for you. But it is crazy looking at it. We'll talk about that eventually.
Okay, we will for sure. Oh my God! Also, this is kind of where we start getting the Mary breaking down.
Yeah.
And
True.
we see the little spirit who helps fix the boat, and yeah, kind of the beginning of the downfall of the Mary, and how obviously that leads into the problems we're gonna see in Water 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that whole thing.
Yeah, that's so sad.
God, my favorite is when they're like, "Chopper, you're in charge of the ship," and when they're trying, oh my God, Chopper, my son, I love him so much. I love him so much in this arc too, because in Alabasta, obviously he was like Alabasta was his like first, I guess, mission / journey, with the crew, that I feel like he was with other people there, so it was kind of like it was okay, like it wasn't too much of a threat. But I feel like this one is like his first like solo mission for sure. Because I forgot who it is he defeats. He defeats somebody.
Oh yeah.
He fights with somebody. I can't remember. But my favorite is when he's sitting on a rock and he's drinking from the canteen and he's like, "Finally, I'm a real pirate." And I'm like, "Oh my god, you're so cute." Or when he's taking care of the ship and they're like, "Chopper, you can come out now," and he comes out all burnt and sad.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, God, I love him.
Oh, Chopper fights Gadatsu, that guy.
Yes.
Like I don't know how to describe him.
Yeah.
he's an interesting character. Those were some good fights, though. I liked all those fights. They were very like evenly matched and like cool powers and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. I feel like just the setting is so cool because they're on clouds. So like, and then we find out too that they can't go in the clouds because it's like water, but not really.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like it's hard to get in, or it's easy. It's hard to get out, but then it's also hard to like try and save somebody.
Yeah.
Because it's like, are you sinking? Are you not? It's like it's so cool. It reminds me of the Mario worlds with the clouds. That's what it reminds me of. That's what I was thinking about the whole time I was watching it, to be honest.
I also like, because it kind of connects to Fishman Island where you're at right now, because that's another arc a lot of people didn't really like too much.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like coming off of Marineford and all that, then going to this, it is kind of a drop in quality, but I still did like it a lot. And the setting, like Fishman Island is such a cool place. And
it is.
So different from what we're used to. Like, I'd say Skypiea and Fishman Island are really the two that are like the most different from the norm of just going island to island. And I really like both of them a lot, just the setting.
I was going to say, I do remember hearing a TikTok about it where Skypiea was kind of breaking the formula from where we were at the story. Because, from the beginning to Alabasta, it was like different island. It was like, different island, save these people, different island, save these people. Skypiea is definitely different because we start at Jaya, which doesn't need saving. And then we go up to the Sky Island, which is, again, in a completely different setting with completely different people and a completely different backstory. Like, yes, there is somebody, like, ruling over here and, like, there are people that need to be saved, but there's also layers to it as well. And then kind of, with Fishman Island, where I'm at so far, we're getting the backstory of Otohime, and how she was eventually assassinated, which I want to say... I found out she was assassinated through the live action of One Piece.
Really?
Because I was watching Drum Island, and I knew from where I was at in the live action, I was like, oh my god, I'm actually so glad I like was determined to like watch all the way until post time skip, because definitely live action season 2, the second season of live action One Piece brings in so many elements from post time skip. When I saw
Bartolomeo, he's there.
When I saw Bartolomeo, I was literally like, I literally looked at him and I texted my nephew, who is a One Piece expert. I was like, am I crazy or is this Barto? He was like, yeah, that's him. I was like, okay. I was like, because I thought I was going crazy, which again, I feel like is actually a pretty good creative choice on their end.
Yeah.
Because it's like, all right, we don't need to do this whole shenanigan where it's like revealed friggin' 10 arcs later that he was actually in the background crowd and like he was there. It's like, it's like just introduce him already. Like,
like, that's one of the changes I don't really care. Like, I like, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, because it's kind of bringing in elements that, like, yes, obviously, like, probably watchers who are watching this instead of the series don't know, but obviously people who have seen the series are kind of like, oh, it's like, wait, I do know this. Especially with the introduction of Sabo, literally second episode or the first episode.
Yeah.
The first or second episode.
I guess the end of the first,
Yeah, the introduction of Sabo in the first episode. The mention of Dadan in the second episode with Laboon. We see Brook.
Yeah, got his whole backstory.
Yeah, got his whole backstory, which I kind of like.
Yeah, no, I like that too. Because like it's not really stuff that like takes away if you introduce it now.
Yeah.
Because I mean, they're not going to get through the entire story of One Piece for the live action.
Well, they did say that Oda had already told them where he wants to stop in the live action.
Ooh, that's cool.
But tying back to what I was trying to say, yes, I accidentally got spoiled in the live action season 2 that Otohime was assassinated. So I know with where her backstory is going.
That's fair.
But yeah, where I am in Fishman Island, I do like the setting. I definitely like the story. It's and obviously with Fishman Island, the parallels are very similar to Arlong Park
Yeah.
and with obviously with humans versus fishmen and the prejudice and the racism there.
That just made me think of, because Jinbei and Arlong are kind of another one of those duo of characters who
Yes.
are really reflecting of each other,
Mhm.
and I see a lot of them in Luffy and Blackbeard, and
Yeah.
how pretty much same character, same ideology, same chance at doing what they want to do,
Mhm.
except they go down completely different routes because of like what they experience and the way they perceive those experiences.
Yeah.
And so that's just very interesting.
Yeah, I literally just finished Fisher Tiger's backstory.
God.
So obviously, and then with Koala's backstory, and then obviously how differently Arlong and Jinbei took it, with
Yeah.
obviously Arlong being like, see, this is why we can't trust humans, and this is why, like, we are superior, and this is why we should keep our guard up. And with Jinbei being like, no, actually, like, this is just one of many people. Obviously, like, we see that Koala learns that fishmen aren't so bad because she actually takes the time. Well, not that she was so willingly to, but we see that she's obviously rescued by them and she lives with them, and obviously like they are very kind to her. They are very like giving her resources, and they are kind enough to take her home and deliver her home and not just like, dump her on the island and be
Yeah.
like, see you, kid.
Yeah, that is that is a great just backstory, one of my favorite for sure.
Yeah.
But so sad.
I know.
I wrote about that a lot in my paper when I
Yeah. I was gonna say when I was watching it, I was like, this wasn't Danny's thing.
did. Yeah. And one thing I wanted to bring up, which is kind of a critique of the ending of Skypiea, actually,
Mhm.
because they beat Enel, and then they re-elect, or pretty much re-elect, he reclaims his position, Ganfall as
Yeah.
the god, and then it's all happily ever after. But, like, they're just kind of going back to what it was before. And before
Yeah.
Enel, there was still problems, they were still fighting, and so it just kind of seems kind of rushed in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's clear problems that I mean, I guess you could see, like, oh, they defeated the most evil and that brought them together.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, there's still going to be animosity between the people. There's still going to be some sort of, like,
Yeah.
discriminating against each other. And I got a TikTok about this. It was kind of connecting it to Palestine and Israel and being
Yeah.
like, what if Israel came in one day, ended the conflict, and then they're like, now we can live in peace, everyone. That wouldn't work.
Yeah.
And, like,
No.
it's kind of what happened here.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of one critique I have.
Yeah.
But
There's
other than
just-
that, I like it a lot.
Yeah, well, kind of bringing up, with the Israel and Palestine, it's like, when you put it in that perspective, it's definitely like, no, like there's so much history that just can't be
Yeah.
erased. Like there's been so many atrocities and deaths and just so much terrible negative things that have happened that it's kind of impossible to just live in peace afterwards.
Yeah.
Like there's going to be so much animosity, like you said, there's going to be so many grudges, resentment, hate, and vengeful people, which can't say you blame them either.
No, yeah. And, like, I don't know, I forget exactly the timeline on Palestine and Israel, but, like, in One Piece, it's a 400-year-old
Yeah.
conflict.
Well, I
That's
think
not resolved in a day just by beating an L.
Yeah.
Like,
well, yeah, from what I can remember, from my understanding, I also understand that the Israel and Palestine thing goes way, way back as
Yeah.
well.
yeah. But I just don't see, like, I don't know, that's the one thing I didn't really get about the
Yeah.
ending, but I still like Skypiea as a whole.
Yeah, Skypiea is a good arc. Definitely, I want to say it's one of the, well, because I feel like Alabasta is also one of the first arcs where you kind of start to like maybe slow down a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like that's where I started to slow down, and then I feel like Skypiea is kind of where I came like a full stop and I like, was taking breaks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think it's still overall a really good arc. I really liked it. It's fun.
Yeah. And I just love, I'll get so many TikToks that bring up something that I still hadn't even, like, realized. And,
Yeah.
like, they're connecting to stuff currently happening in the story or something. I'm like, wow, like, this really was. It probably is the most important arc out
Yeah.
of, like, in the entire story. I would not doubt that.
Yeah. And the fact that people skip it, crazy.
Oh my God, yeah. I had a friend that tried doing that, and I was like,
You were like,
you
absolutely
cannot.
not.
Like,
I feel like you will sit here and watch this whole
can
thing.
skip a few filler episodes if you want, but you're watching the whole
Yeah.
Skypiea.
Do you watch the filler episodes or do you skip those?
I skipped those mostly. There were a few I watched, like the one right after Skypiea, actually. I
Mhm.
think it's called, like, G8.
Oh, yeah.
That's, like, widely considered actually a good filler, like a good
Yeah.
story. There's cool villains.
Yeah.
And so I watched that, but I would mostly skip them.
I was going to say, after Skypiea, it's Long Ring, Long Island, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
that was rough.
that's also though another important arc because it's gonna come back. Like it's kind of coming back right now where we're at.
That's insane. Yeah, Long Ring Long Island. I feel like
Yeah, no, it's just stupid.
that was such. God, it was like after finishing Skypiea, it's like I'm exhausted, and then I'm having somebody shank me in the back of the knees. That's what it feels like trying to watch Long Ring Long Island after, what is it? After watching Skypiea.
No, for real.
That's how I felt trying to finish Water 7. It genuinely took me 3 months to finish Enies Lobby Water 7.
Really?
Not because I was like slowing down, but because the freaking post Water 7 filler. Because I watch filler. It's like the I don't want to say the OCD in me because I don't have OCD, but it's like the in me, like I need to watch every single episode or I feel like I haven't actually watched it. So like I was watching all of that and I literally was sitting there like eyes twitching like, oh my god, it never ends.
No, yeah, I've skipped
like
filler.
I was like, this is the 7th week that they've been here in this land. Like, can they freaking leave? I was like, when is Frankie gonna give them this new freaking ship and when are they gonna leave?
No, yeah. Outside of the filler, though, it is just like amazing arcs after this point.
Yes.
I mean, after Long Ring Long Land, I guess, because you got Water 7, Enies Lobby, Thriller Bark, leading that into Sabadi, Amazon Lily, Impel Down. I loved all those.
Yeah, those are such good arcs.
But then going from like that to
Fishman
Island, I can see the drop off that a lot of people had.
And then after Fishman Island, what is it? It's Dressrosa.
Yeah.
Which also I can argue that is also a very
or you have Punk Hazard first, actually.
Oh, okay.
And then Dressrosa.
Yeah.
Which they're kind of like connected. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like Jaya and Skypiea.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everyone. We are glad you could join us today, and thank you for listening. This has been episode 4 of
No Justice, No One Piece.
I'm Danny.
I'm Perla.
And we hope to see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Thank you very much for listening to this WXAV 88.3 FM podcast. Be sure to visit our website, wxav.com, for more information on your escape from ordinary radio.